the military commanders, the rich, the mighty ones, and essentially their servants, were seeking shelter in the rock masses and in the caves. And it says that they kept on calling out to the rock masses to cover them over and hide them from the anger of the one seated on the throne. But it says, who can stand? Who can hide from that one or from the Lamb? So it's interesting. This is a depiction of the last days. But what happens? What comes between us and the sun? And what are these blood moons about? Well, we have these 4 tetrad moons, and what makes this so different and so interesting is that they happen all on Hebrew holidays. Last night was the first one. Last night was Passover, but more interestingly, not only was it Passover, but after the Passover meal was held, Jesus dismissed Judas, and the 11 faithful disciples stayed with him, and he conducted a covenant with them. And he said a prayer over some wine and some bread, and he passed it around, and he said, eat the bread, this means my body, and drink the wine, this means my blood. And he said, keep doing this in memory of me until I return. Until I return. Well, wait a minute. The return of Christ. Now, we're not going to go down a religious path here. We're going to change gears real quick.
Okay.
But when would the most likely return of Christ be? Wouldn't it be then on Nisan 14 when he told his disciples to keep this in memory of him until he returns? Would be a logical date.
Yes.
You wouldn't say do it on this date. I'm going to show up January 3rd, just when nobody. No, wait a minute. It would be most logical that he would show back up right around Nisan 14. Can you track that? Yes. Nisan 14 is the date that's 14 days after the new moon closest to the spring equinox. Now, what's happening with this blood moon tetrad is that for the next 18 months, both fall and spring Jewish high holidays are going to be occulted by a blood moon. Interesting. So last night was the first one. We're going to see the next blood moon coming in October. And that will be on the temple, on the Festival of Booths. I forget the actual Jewish name for it. I believe it's Succoth. Let me just pull this up here.
Okay.
I'll tell you exactly. Yes, Succoth. That's on 10/8/2014, this October. The next blood moon is Passover of next year, which is going to be April 4th of 2015. And then the last blood moon is September 28th, 2015, which also falls on the Festival of Succoth, or it's the Festival of Booths. This was the time that the nation of Israel was out gathering in the crops, where Jesus said, you have the wheat and the weeds being gathered in, and then the sheep and the goats. These parables are starting to fit in this time period. So, but now they're all occulted. Well, what's so special about this? Well, the interesting thing about this is not only are there the blood moons, but we also get the sun being eclipsed. There are actually 4 eclipses during this time period. The most important one is a full solar eclipse on Nisan 1, which is actually March 20th, 2015. So next March, the Jewish New Year of Nisan, the first month in the Jewish New Year of Nisan starts off with a total solar eclipse, followed 14 days by the most important holiday in all of Hebrew culture, Passover, again, another blood moon. And so there's a whole sequence of these that happen over the next 18 months. So now what does that mean for us? Nothing. Well, actually not nothing. It's a sign in the heavens above. When you go to Acts, the 2nd chapter, and you look at you read what's written there in the 19th and 20th verses, it says that the sun will become darkened and the moon will be turned to blood, and that there would be evidence given in the heavens above and signs on the earth below. Well, what have we seen differently here on the earth below? The weather, Earthquakes don't just happen in one bang with a couple aftershocks. Earthquakes come in swarms.
Mm-hmm.
Earthquakes in the past 15 years are up over 700% over the previous 100 years of record keeping.
Yeah,
we got better methods now. We got more earthquakes.
Actually, I have a theory on why there's more earthquakes. It's because we keep on taking the hydraulic fluid out of the earth called oil.
You can't rape the earth and expect it not to try to shake it off.
Exactly.
But there are more forces going on here, Rob.
Sure there are.
You know, a lot of the earthquakes that are going on, the smaller ones, especially in oil-rich zones, are due to fracking.
Yes.
That's what we see happening in Oklahoma now, outside of Oklahoma City. They've got constant earthquakes. Well, they're fracking the heck out of the ground. Yep. What are they doing when they frack? They're destroying the aquifer. I live in the southern part, just south of the Burgess Shale region. I have seen videos of my neighbors in the county north from where I live, where they can ignite the water coming out of their faucets.
I have seen those videos, and I have spoken to people who actually live there. And why the oil companies are allowed to continue this, and why the government is just saying, well, geez, that can't be happening, and the denial. It's crazy, all because some politicians have deep pockets and the oil companies are just filling their pockets so that they can ignore what's really happening?
Well, we see a power grab going on.
Yeah.
Now, here's an interesting thing. We talked about Flight 370. We've had 5 weeks of Flight 370.
Yes.
You know what happened 2 days after Flight 370? On March 11th in Kuala Lumpur, there was actually a wet signing of new currency to be issued. According to what they're talking about, there was supposed to be $6 million per person on the face of the planet issued in gold and silver. This takes us back to the days of Kennedy, when Kennedy wanted to back the U.S. dollar with silver. Do you know, and 11 days later, before he was able to implement this, he was assassinated.
Yes.
I wonder if there was a connection.
Good question. Stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our news break. Exonation. Peter Kling is my very special guest this hour. By the way, it was Peter's birthday a few days ago. So, Peter, from everyone here at the Exonation to you, a very happy birthday, my friend. Peter's website, www.peterkling.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news. And when we do come back, we'll be hearing from Elizabeth Joyce about her psychic and astrological projections for April the 14th until April the 20th. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone. www.xzoneradiotv.com is where you can go to listen to all of our past archives. And check us out on any of the social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. I'll be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships, not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com, $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Now you can dial in to listen to the X-Zone radio show from anywhere in the world with Rob McConnell 24/7, 365 by dialing 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080. If you have a mobile phone or landline, the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell is now at your beck and call at 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080, 24/7, 365.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Joyce with the X Zone, and it's your weekly psychic astrology report, the week of April 6th. Rash decisions and impulsive conversation may be the norm this week all the way through April 23rd. However, when it comes to romance, this week promises a fairy tale ending for everyone, or at least a perception of one. Tension in your social life and with finances might try to get the best of you, but fortunately, if there's one place you can find solace, it's with your home and family. Expect life to go at a different speed with Venus in mellow Pisces and Mercury in the quick mode of Aries, so pace yourself. On Monday, communication planet Mercury enters Aries, where it will remain until the 23rd of April. With the planet of thoughts and ideas in fast-paced Aries, you'll bet you can have a stronger ability to think on your feet and react with decisions to do anything life throws your way. Unfortunately, you will have the conviction that you may not have precision. Unfortunately, while you will have conviction, you may not have precision. That's because Aries is known for jumping headfirst into situations without actually thinking things through. The bull in the china shop. So be aware. The hurry up and I want it now feeling helps to get your body moving, but it can produce mental overload. On Tuesday, the Sun-Mars opposition brings a difficult mix. For one thing, you want to move ahead with a plan that will affect you and a partner, be it business or personal. The trouble is that this opportunity or scheme doesn't appear to be thought out, so if you proceed, it could be poorly executed and your partner might resist the idea entirely. Frustrating for sure, but it will be a gentle reminder that a relationship isn't all about you. It's about connecting and compromise. By Friday, life becomes enchanting. The love planet Venus embraces Neptune to remind us that loving unconditionally is the only way to truly love someone. You may have high hopes on the romance department on this day, and yes, some of you will be disappointed, but the hopeless romantic in you will declare that it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. Saturday is good for work, cleaning, sharing, and healthy food. With Venus in Pisces for the rest of April, it's a good time to make some time for your psychic, spiritual well-being. Pisces helps you burst illusions to open to a higher vision. 3 famous people with Venus in Pisces have put their ideas out there about love. They are Cosmopolitan's Helen Gurley Brown, Playboy's Hugh Hefner, and the one and only Casanova.
Visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com. Welcome back, everyone. Peter Kling is our special guest, www.peterkling.com. And Peter, we were talking about, before we went on air, about the Malaysian Airlines flight, MH370. What do you think happened to it?
One of two things happened. Either they shot it out of the sky and it's sitting on the bottom of the ocean someplace where nobody's paying attention or looking, or it was hijacked. Now, I came across one piece of information which kind of made sense. And this information was that there was either nuclear or biological material being shipped to China. And the CIA knew it, and they put SEAL teams into action, and the 777 jet is a fly-by-wire jet. We know that Rolls-Royce keeps track of those engines when they're running. You mean to tell me Boeing can't lock onto that jet and know exactly where it is? And you mean to tell me that the United States military can't turn around and fly that thing by wire to Diego Garcia and land it there and take whatever they need off? Now the problem is, what do you do with the people?
Exactly.
You know, so it puts you in a quandary. But here's that's a possibility. A possibility. I'm not saying it's actually what happened. We don't know exactly what happened. We do know that this thing has been the major lead news story for 5 weeks.
And you know what? No disrespect meant to the families who my heart goes out to, because they're just victims of this horrific circumstance. But enough is enough, gang. There's other news in the world that is going on that needs the same attention, if not more, than Flight 370 does right now.
Flight 370 left Kuala Lumpur and vanished. I wonder if that's some indication, because just before we left, I said that there was a wet signing of documents.